Oh gosh, hold on. I am so sorry, y'all. I'm having some technical difficulties. I stopped the show a little too early there. Yes, that's what happens when I have a show called A Glitch in the Matrix. I am doomed to have everything glitch out. Okay, so sorry about that. Good evening, everybody, and welcome into our wonderful show tonight. My gosh, we are going to be diving in tonight to some dogmen out of Wisconsin. We're also going to be talking about dogmen versus mounds. Okay, what we call down here in the South Indian burial mounds. Okay, and we're going to get into that tonight. And I also have our good friend, author E.D. Testerman, in the studio tonight, and we're going to have a wonderful discussion, even on dogmen and mind speak as well. This case that we're going over tonight gets really weird. Okay, it's really strange, and we've got some history on the location of where this occurred too. And some of the, it's actually a convent where to this day, it's still in operation. And it is a place for people with developmental disabilities, y'all. Sorry, I have to spit it out there. Developmental disabilities live there. Okay. And that there is one very famous person actually who lived there until I guess she lived there until she passed away a few years ago, from the Kennedy family. Okay, so my goodness, let's get this show on the road tonight. We got a lot to discuss, and yeah, I can't believe that I botched the intro, y'all, but it's all good. It's all good. Y'all forgive me. We've had two of those this week. I kind of botched the other one the other day. I tried to do a new intro and I had a little copyright issue there. So it is muted. In case you guys are wondering, I took the music off from the other day. I think that was on Monday. But it is what it is. It is what it is. You got to do what you got to do, y'all. And so thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you to all my moderators, to everybody who's joining us tonight. This is going to be a really great show tonight, actually. I am super stoked for this one. And so if you guys would like to check out any kind of information about me, get my social media links, please go over to my website. That's the cryptidhuntress.com. You can find all of my information over there, an archive of my shows, and a schedule of events where I will be speaking publicly. And I think the next one I'm going to be at is the not the Molina, that's in November. I'm going to be at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference next month up in North Georgia, and then I'll be at the Super Soldier Activation Conference, and then I'll be at the Molina Bigfoot Festival. So y'all come see me at that. All of the data for tonight's show is posted on my Patreon. If you guys would like to become a member of my Patreon, please do. I am so humbled by all the support that I get over on my Patreon from you guys. I have my raw data posted there, plus all of the pictures I'm going to be showing tonight and all the information on this target. It's all there. So thank you guys so much for your support on my Patreon. Also, I have a shop. It's called War Woman Goods. If you guys want to go check that out. And yeah, let's get to our show, y'all. Okay. Let's see. Whew. We are talking dogmen tonight. Dogmen. And this is a very old case. It's one of the, I'm not going to say it's one of the first cases. Okay. It's an old case. This is from the 1930s. And we're going to make a bunch of connections with dogman cases from present day. On a late night in 1938, night watchman Mark Shackleman was making his rounds at St. Coletta Convent in Racine, Michigan. To his horror, he came face to face with what he described as a black-haired, dog-headed humanoid with long claws, and it smelled like death. He said that it was kneeling and scratching at a Native American Indian burial mound near the convent. And when Shackleman approached the creature, it fled into the night. The next night, he had to go back for more. He had to go investigate. While he was on duty, he returned to the location to find a creature, the same creature, clawing at the mound once again. This time, it did not flee. It stood there on two legs, and it made eye contact. And he said that it spoke one word, Gadarah, is what it said. He said it sounded like a name. Maybe that was its name. So what exactly did he encounter? And is this even something? Did it even really happen? That's usually the question, right, y'all? Did this really even happen? Well, I was tasked with this encounter as a blind coordinate remote viewing target, and I have some data on this. I have some very interesting data, actually, on this one. And of course, to discuss all of this with me tonight, I have my good friend, Eric Testerman, author, E.D. Testerman, here in the studio. You can find him on his YouTube channel and Rumble channels. It's called The Bizarre and the Unknown. We had Bigfoot Dwarf in there this past week. I saw that episode. That was amazing and a lot of fun. But you guys can find him on YouTube and Rumble at The Bizarre and the Unknown, and also at Nighthawk High Strangeness podcast on the weekends. And find his books on Amazon. Please help me welcome to the show, Mr. E.D. Testerman. What's up, Eric?
Hey, Jessica, how's it going? Hey, everybody in chat. How you all doing today?
Man, I am so good. I am so good. I was so excellent until I hate it when I botch an intro like that, man. I don't know if you saw that. That sucks.
I've done it.
It's all good. If that's the worst thing that happens to me, I'm okay. All right.
Heck, I was trying to look up that name, Gadarah, because I know I've heard it before. And right now, I can't tell. I'm looking it up, but it's kind of like it's like an Asian type or an Arabic type language that means tent or a thick cloth or canvas.
Ooh, interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah. I was thinking when I was reading it sounded kind of like Guadalajara or something, but it's okay. Specifically, it's Gadarah. Gadarah. Gadarah.
Okay, I spelled it wrong, so let me put
Gadarah.
the spelling in.
I mean, I may be pronouncing it wrong, but that's the way it's spelled. Gadarah. It's not. What is it?
The meaning of it's the closest I got is Gadarah, which means fortification.
A fortification, like a fort, like somewhere that would be, a protective barrier or a place to fight.
It's from Jordan.
Interesting. Actually, that's interesting because it kind of lines up with some of my remote viewing data, which is weird. This is really weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to get into that. Okay. Well, Eric, this is one of the earliest encounters that is in I guess I was going to say written history. It's not in a history book or anything, but one of the earliest encounters with a dogman that I know of. I mean, I know, of course, we have dog-headed men back on maps from the 1500s, but in America, right here in Wisconsin, this is in Wisconsin, where it is, of course, home of the Beast of Bray Road, by the way. And that's one of the more famous dogman sightings in American history, of course. And I remote viewed that a long time ago. Okay, so I've done a show on that. I believe the remote viewing data concluded that there was not just one Beast of Bray Road. There were a lot of them.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, it seems like they had a bunch of cornfields. I may be mistaking this one. It seems like they had a bunch of cornfields and stuff out around here. And I know I had Riley from Midwest Mythos podcast on my show a while back. His wife came on. Unbeknownst to her, she was going to become internet famous that night. She had no idea that she was coming on a show. But he had her hop on to tell her dogman encounter up in somewhere between Wisconsin and Michigan. Okay, right there, right there on the border. But this is a very famous case. And of course, the Wisconsin Wolfman. That's probably from a Star magazine or something right there. But there were a lot of eyewitness encounters of seeing a dogman on the side of the road eating like roadkill, I believe.
I've heard that often.
And of course, we have this picture. Now, this is arguably, God, I can't talk tonight. Arguably, a fake or a hoax I don't know. Personally, I don't know about this. They say that a trucker took that picture, I believe, somebody on the road. If anything, if this is not a taxiderm fake animal, I think it could be a coyote or a wolf or something that maybe its arms got destroyed and it had to learn to walk on two legs. I mean, that's weird, Eric. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I was just looking at because I was looking at the arms are all wrong, disproportionate to the body. You can see the bones clearly, like there's no flesh there. One of them, the other one looks like it's like all mangled or something. Yeah, it's a weird pic. It just looks dysfunctional. Hey, that's me.
I hope that's not real. I hope that it's something that just somebody threw together, like a taxidermed animal, because that would be really sad to think about an animal suffering like that. You know what I mean? With its bones exposed, and but if anything, it could be, if it is alive, it could just be an animal that had to adapt to walk on its back two legs because it didn't have front legs.
Yeah, and canines are known to do that. There's several videos of canines, especially from the Asian continent, of them actually walking around on hind legs. Of course, they're all over. I mean, some of them don't have their front legs at all, and that's how they get around literally walking like a human on their hind legs. So, I mean, it is extremely possible for them to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. Robin, I agree. She says the background on the photo looks real. I mean, it's no doubt it's a real picture. I mean, I've seen the original, and it looks like the dog, whatever this is, running towards the road. It's just the sad part is the arms being just bones and exposed, and not knowing if this is like somebody set that up like a taxidermed animal. It'd be better if there was a video of it, maybe. But these days of AI, what can you trust? You know what I mean?
Well, another thing that stands out to me, and this is on a scientific medical point of view when it comes to looking at that photo. If something sustained that kind of injury like that, the bacteria from the wounds alone would unalive that creature. It would not be able to survive like that. It can't.
Yeah, that's really sad. I know. I've watched Walking Dead. I know how these things work. I've watched enough doctor shows. I'm just kidding. I'm
writing a book about it.
Yeah. I'm no doctor, but I watch them on TV. Okay, so you're writing a book about it. Interesting. Yeah, so you've had to do some research on this. That's pretty good.
Yeah, see,
okay.
I forgot been working on a book called Reign of the Draugr, Dawn of Armageddon. So I was actually thinking about that when I was in my tractor mowing today. So I was like, oh man, I've got a cool new ending to this compared to what I was wanting to do. And so I've actually while I was waiting to come on live, I was working on it. But a Draugr is a Norse zombie. It can also be called a vampire. So most notably, you'll see them in the game Skyrim when you're in them dungeons fighting Draugrs. That's what they are. They're literally a Norse zombie.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds lovely. I hope I never encounter one. Okay, but it does sound pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Okay, well, let's get into our topic tonight. Okay, let's get into our topic. We can get into the Beast of Bray Road, and we can circle back to this in just a minute. Okay, we'll circle back to this. I've got a lot of information on the Beast of Bray Road, which I believe are beasts with the S of Bray Road. But we've got this creature that was encountered back in 1936. Now, there was a man named Mark Shackleman. He was making his rounds because he was like a security guard. Okay, at this convent. Now, this was not like when I hear the word convent. Okay, like of course I'm thinking of like that vampire convent down in New Orleans or something. But just a place where there's going to be nuns, doctors, and I didn't know exactly a whole lot about this convent until I did a deep dive on that today when I was doing some research on all this. And let me show you some pictures. Let's show the audience and get an idea of where we're talking about. Okay, so this is in, I think you would call it Racine. Okay, Racine I was calling it Racine, but it's Racine, I think, in Wisconsin. It's down in the lower corner right there where that red star is. Okay, well, there's a place called the St. Coletta Convent. And this is a picture. I believe this picture was taken. I typed it in to look for a picture from the 1930s, but this is a vintage picture of it. And here's a picture that just show you the enormity of it. It's a big place. And let's see. Let me see if I've got some information on it. So it was established by the Sisters of St. Francis in Milwaukee over a century ago. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing quality residential day and vocational programs and services for persons with developmental disabilities and other challenges. St. Coletta Institute for Backward Youth is what it used to be called. Was a medical, residential, and educational institution for the developmentally disabled. It was organized by the Sisters of St. Francis Ossie in 1904 at the behest of Father George Meyer of St. Louis Catholic Church. They accepted 4 families' requests to care for their mentally disabled children. And by the early 20th century, a large campus of residence halls, chapels, and infirmary, an administration building, classrooms, and a nanatorium occupied the southeast corner of Highway 18 and County Road Y in the town of Jefferson. Okay, so this is the convent that we're talking about, and this security guard was on watch one night, and he encountered something very strange. Okay, before we go further, I do have one. I did mention there was a famous patient there, and this breaks my heart. This is just absolutely heartbreaking right here. Now, there's a woman from the Kennedy family named Rosemary Kennedy. She was one of the sisters, actually, of President John F. Kennedy. And she was put into this convent when she was a teenager. And I believe it was, we've got a whole bunch of information on here. But her father determined her to be a little unruly. Okay. In my opinion, she had no reason to be there. They even have quoted her IQ as being pretty high, way higher than anyone that was admitted into this place. But she didn't measure up to the rest of her siblings. That's what it said. And Rosemary displayed behavioral problems and mood swings. She probably was bipolar. Her father arranged for a prefrontal lobotomy at the age of 23 years old, but it failed and left her incapacitated permanently. She spent the rest of her life at St. Coletta, Jefferson, Wisconsin, with minimal contact from her family and a well-kept secret from the community in which she lived for many years. She didn't actually live on the premises because her father traveled to the area and built a private house for her about a mile outside of Coletta's main campus. They called it the Kennedy Cottage. And 2 Catholic nuns actually provided care for her with a student and a woman who worked on ceramics with Rosemary 3 nights a week. And her sister, actually, one of their sisters is the one who created the Special Olympics in her honor. Okay, one of the Kennedy sisters. And this, I mean, to me, that is just absolutely tragic. Okay, for any father, first of all. And let me state this too. As I said that from what I read today, this was an experimental kind of thing and not done on a lot of people. And so he opted to have that done to her, thinking it would help her, but it ended up turning her basically into a vegetable. Okay, so this is what is on that property right there. Okay, it's a place they were doing lobotomies there, is basically what I'm trying to say. Okay, and things like that. I'm not saying they were doing like really bad experiments on people and stuff, but they were dishing out lobotomies, obviously. Eric, now, considering we have a potential Dogman encounter here at this location, Eric, you and I both have gone and done investigations of not only cryptids, but also paranormal investigations. And when you have places like this that have this high amount of trauma, high amount of even like a mental disorder of some sort, what does that do to the energy there, Eric?
So that's going to put off a lot of negative energy, which would invite a lot of negative supernatural paranormal entities. when you got that kind of drama, I don't know. My theory on it is because the trauma was so severe in that location that they just can't mentally leave that once their mortal husk is gone. So I don't know if that's true or not. That's just a theory I got. Because if you look at mental institutions, you look at prisons, you look at hospitals, those are the three most haunted places in the world. Anywhere you go, they're chock full of paranormal activity. So that's why my theory on that is that's because the trauma was so great there and so much bad was done to them that they just can't mentally leave that spot.
Yeah. It's really sad. Okay, very sad. And you know, I am not a huge fan of doing or going to like a hospital to go do an investigation or anything like that. I mean, unless there's some kind of cryptid investigation I need to go to, I'm probably going to stay away from those places. Insane asylums, as they call them, any kind of psychiatric hospitals. I ain't going. Okay, I have no reason to go because I mean I feel like you're going to be more likely to have an attachment when you leave. Eric, what do you agree with that, or what do you think?
So that is going to be a high probability in the places. That's why, like, every time I do a paranormal investigation, I tell them, like, look, you don't have permission to attach yourself to me or my equipment. Once I leave these doors, you have to remain here. You cannot come home with me. And with the paranormal, that works really good. Supernatural, that's a different story. Of course, with the supernatural, I have certain medicines within my medicine bag that help protect me from that stuff. But that don't necessarily work on the supernatural side. It does to a point. But supernatural wise, if something's attached there, if they want to come home with you, they're going to come home with you. You need some good protection.
Yes, you do. You definitely do. Big time protection, energetic, spiritual, and physical protection as well. Okay, in my opinion, or in my case, we have a really interesting comment right here from Moondog Davis, and he says, "Gadarah." It sounds a lot like what I said with that dogman or whatever this creature is said, is the place where Jesus exorcised the legion of demons into pigs nearby who ran off a cliff.
That's why that sounded familiar. Yeah, because it came up as Fortress, you know. So that may thanks Moondog, because that now now I know where I've heard that from before. I knew I'd heard it. I just couldn't remember where I've heard it from. Well, which makes sense. I mean, it's in a graveyard digging up a grave. You know, hey.
Well, that's part of it. I guess okay, so let's get into the encounter about what happened. Okay, so this night watchman was making his rounds, chilling out, walking around the property, and this is a big property. I did not realize how big this property was until I got the pictures. And Richard, what's up? Yes, he says, what medicine other than the name of Jesus works on the supernatural? That's a good point. I was going to bring that up tonight because actually, and this is before we had Moondog telling us that that's what Gadarah means, whatever that word is. Before he gave us that tidbit of information, I was going to bring that up. Okay. And yes, there are people who say that when they're having like an alien abduction or something supernatural is going on, something paranormal, something terrifying, they do say Jesus Christ and it stops. Okay. So there's that. Okay. So there's that. Yeah. So we're going to get into that right there. Let me pull up another picture of the grounds. Okay. This is not going to shock you guys because I've been talking a lot about dogmen and cemeteries and dogmen and burial mounds as well. Okay. And this is the Racine Mound Cemetery. This is actually the cemetery right there on the campus of this property. And of course, we actually right in the same vicinity. I don't know if this is the same cemetery that's on the property there, or if this is right down the road, but this is the Racine Mound Cemetery. You can see an actual mound right there in the middle of the cemetery.
That screams Faye to me.
Faye screams Dogman to me. Okay, so He said that he was making his rounds, and to his horror, he came face to face with what looked like a dog-headed humanoid, like a dogman or a werewolf. He described it as having black hair, long claws, and it smelled like death, like a rotting corpse is the way he described it. He said it was kneeling and scratching at a Native American Indian burial mound near the convent. And when he approached the creature, it fled into the night, so it ran off. He returned the next day to investigate. He had to go back and see what it was the next day. And he found footprints and claw marks. And he described the claw marks as having 2 withered fingers. So I guess that means that like 2 of the fingers were broken, or, something was wrong with 2 of the fingers on it. Withered. Okay. So he took stock of everything. He said that he had to go back and see if it was there. So that was during the day he saw the footprints and the claw marks. That night he went back. He found the creature in the same spot that night. He said it was clawing at the mound once again, and this time it didn't run. It stood up on 2 legs, made eye contact, and it spoke one word, Gadarah, or Gadarah. I think it's Gadarah. And the night watchman refused to run. He maintained eye contact, and he said a silent prayer. He eventually turned around and walked away as the creature menacingly sneered and stood firm in place. He reportedly never saw this creature ever again, but he did report smelling that rancid smell of a rotting corpse or death several times in the future, but he never saw this creature ever again. And so what's interesting is he said a silent prayer. He prayed to God. And I have to wonder, it seems as though that does have an effect, Eric, on some of these situations where people are having encounters with the paranormal and cryptids and aliens and things like that. But he also said when he opened his eyes, the thing never moved. Okay. It never moved, but it didn't hurt him. It also didn't hurt him. So
more like a territorial stance, like, hey, I'm not leaving, so either you leave me the heck alone or you can leave. Either way.
Yeah. It's like, get out of here. I'm not going anywhere. And you might have caught me, but I'm not leaving. But he never saw it ever again out there. I guarantee you he went back. He probably went back every night looking for it. It sounds like he did. However, Eric, you and I have been here before. We've talked about grave digging dogmen around the Indian burial mounds, the earthen mounds. It's a common theme at this point. And I think it's cool that we found like one of the earlier reports of it with this one back in 1936. What on earth do you think they're doing at these mounds?
So, I mean, there's several different things. We know that graveyard dirt, bones of the deceased is used in dark magic. I'm kind of one of those people that follow the lines with the native people and the actual dogmen, not werewolves, but the actual dogmen. They know how to use magic just as much as the humans can as well. There's several stories throughout all ancient cultures of dog-headed people that's able to do that. On top of that, now you also got to consider the possibility: is that person in the grave that was digging up, did it curse him with the werewolf curse, and he was trying to find a way to remove that curse? That's also a possibility. Could it have a holy relic that it needed for something? Some kind of powerful relic. I mean, that's also. I mean, the possibilities of him being in that grave mound is endless.
Yeah. I mean, we even talked, and I of course, I do want to talk about this other case in a little bit tonight, the Ohio grave digging dogman as well. We've got some really good. I've got some still shots, some pictures I want to show tonight of that, and you and I had actually mentioned. You told me, because I was like, why is it digging? There's no body down there. It's a place where it was an empty plot where cremains were supposed to be buried. But what could it have been digging for? And you said something about maybe a portal key or something. Like, it was so outside of the box thinking, man. I love that.
Yeah, because see, people don't realize if you study ancient Sumerians, I mean, they're the ones that talk about portals more than anybody else does. I mean, a lot of cultures talk about portals. Ancient Sumerians talk about it more than any other culture, and they straight up tell you that if you don't have the right key, the right frequency, when you go in that portal, then you become unalived. So it could have been looking for something like that. Maybe there was something in the ground there that it buried or somebody else buried that had the frequency to use that portal to be able to go everywhere. So I mean, because like if you create your own portal, then you're attuned to that frequency. Versus if you go into some other one made, Enlu and all them used portals to travel with all around the world. And if you actually look at take the Bermuda Triangle, for instance, there's actually 12 of those triangles around the world. All of them but two are on the same line. So there's five on above the equator, five below the equator, and there's one at the North Pole, one at the South Pole. And every location that you see one of those pyramids at, you have pyramids.
Mhm.
So, and Enlu is known for going around teaching people how to build. So that's where my theory is where all these pyramids you find around the world come from is Enlu. But if you notice, they had a purse or a talisman they wore every time they entered that portal. That's because that was the key to that portal. So that could be what it was thinking for. If I remember right, your remote view on that even said something about key
Mhm.
and I think portal as well. And that's why I said,
Yep.
oh yeah, I could very well be digging for that key to that portal.
Wow. Well, I love brainstorming this stuff because otherwise
Mm.
we're never going to figure any of this out. And it's just like, we look at this and we're like, man, that is so weird. But it's just, you know, those girls that saw this thought it was a dirty woman. You remember that? They thought it was a dirty
Yeah,
lady digging in the grave.
yeah.
I want to give full credit to Colleen Norris. She's a Bigfoot and Dogman investigator and researcher out of Ohio. So thank you to Colleen Norris. These are some pictures she had sent me of the digging Dogman. She's the one who
Mm.
did all the investigation of this, the firsthand investigation. She went there after this incident happened and took measurements. She got down in that hole. You can actually see the knee imprint right there. If you guys are watching here on video tonight, if you're listening on podcast, y'all go check out my YouTube channel. But you can see the knee indentation right there. And she said
Mm.
that the arm length was so long, it was too long for a human to have done that. The arms
Mm-hmm.
were longer than humans. And then the even strangest thing, this is the weirdest thing to me, was that she went to go talk to the staff at the cemetery on Monday. This happened over the weekend. That hole sat there for a couple of days. On Monday morning, she showed up and this thing was covered like a grave, like someone had been buried there. They even put flowers on it, Eric. But she knew
Mm.
for a fact there was nobody buried there because that's her friend's wife's plot. She's still alive. And that was
Mm.
her friend's husband. Her friend was buried right there with his cremain. So she knew the whole layout of that place. And when she went to go ask like why that hole was there, they said, "Oh, it was just animals." And it happens all the time. Happens all the
People
time.
forget something that's extremely important about our history. Every culture is built on the dust and bones of the previous culture. So just because they tell you nobody's buried there, as long as there's been life on this planet, there's not a single square inch of this land that something has been buried on. So that could be an extremely old grave. It's just the remains are gone now, and hers is fixing to go in there. So you got to consider that because big or Dogman, just like Bigfoot, are known as the Elder Big Brothers. They're one of the first beings. They were here before humankind. So this could be something ancestral land to that Dogman, which we know Dogmen are they guard sacred lands, they guard ancestral lands, they guard holy places. So that very well could be a sacred land to its tribe, and there's something there that it wants.
Man, exactly. We don't know the true history of all of our lands here. And if you're like me, you believe that maybe there was a lot more ancient Egyptian settlements around here than we could ever know. We all know about Anubis, right? And being the
Mm.
guardian of, I guess he's what is he, the guardian of the afterlife, I believe. And
Yeah.
Justin, thank you so much. Justin says it's pronounced racine. Thank you. I said racing and racine. I couldn't decide what it was. He's there now. He's there now. Okay. Thank you, Justin. I love my audience, man. You guys are the best. Javier's in the chat. What's up, Javier? With Cryptid 559, he says, also, there's a story of the madman of Gadarah. Okay.
Yeah, that was the one that ain't that the same one that Jesus or that Yeshua casted out the demons, known as Legion, into the herd. That was that madman, I believe. Cryptid. I could be wrong, but I think so. Hey, Daryl.
Oh, wow. And here's a great comment, too, from Don Moore. Hey, Don. Says, maybe Gadarah was one of the few words the Dogman knew from the past. So the security guy would have to investigate what it was. I love the outside the box thinking over here.
You got to consider this. I mean, every single culture in the world that deals with these dog-headed humans, even the Native American people tell you they have language. They speak language. Now, they have their own, and they're known to talk in the language of that area as well, but they have their own language. You know, we've said the same thing in the Bigfoot world, too, which I've caught audio out here on my front porch of 3 different Bigfoots, one talking Lakota, 2 female talking Lakota, 2 males that we thought was speaking Chickasaw first, but the more we listen to it, the more it sounds Cherokee. You know, so the fact that, you know, you have all these cultures, you know, ancient cultures around the world that talk about this and saying they have a language for, say, Gadarah is not out of the realm of possibility because it's extremely possible.
Yeah, it is. And that's actually something I was going to ask you about tonight, because I know that you do have a lot of chatter going on your property out there. And I was wondering if Gadarah, when I was reading that, I was thinking maybe it was some sort of a Native American dialect, like a language that was Native American potentially. But it does seem as though it's got biblical reference to it. So,
yeah, and that's what I thought. Yeah, I thought it was native at first too. That's why I had to look it up, because, like, man, I've heard this word somewhere, and I couldn't remember where. And of course, it came up from Jordan talking about fortress, and then. What was it, Mundo? Who was it that said what it, you know, and it was talking about Jesus casted out the legion of demons into the swines, and the swines ran off the cliff into the ocean because they went mad and insane. You know, where, of course, that guy was mad and insane because he had a legion of demons in there. So, I mean, all that kind of ties together perfectly, and it makes sense. I mean, if these things are the first beings, and it's true what all these cultures talk about, and they're the first beings, they were here before humans. So many things was here before humans. Jinn were here before humans. The Fae was here before humans. Demons. I mean, all this stuff was here way before humans were. It would make sense if it knows that type of language, if that's where its ancestral lands come from.
Yeah, it would. Absolutely. And Kelly's in the chat. Hey, Primal Cry. She says, in Ojibwe culture, they are tasked to guard the graves. Incidentally, traditionally buried Ojibwe have what looks like a small house with an open doorway on top of the grave. Whoa, that's interesting. You know what? Actually, I don't know why this just popped in my head, but, you know, the portal incident out at the meadow that my team encountered, they had what looked like it was like a cube, and it looked like it had doors on it, windows or doors, some kind of like, it didn't look natural. Okay. Whenever that thing showed up. And so I'm not saying that maybe there are, you know, representing portals, but could be a doorway into the next dimension. Right. So very interesting. Okay. So I don't know what happened after this. I don't know if this guy ever reported it to the higher ups where he worked. There's no information on that. I couldn't find anything, Eric. I dug and I looked for it all day. I just started doing my research today or yesterday on this. I looked everywhere. I couldn't find any kind of update on it. Okay. It's just kind of like the story just ended right there with him going back, and then he never saw it again.
Yeah, it could have been hushed like so many other things.
Yeah, exactly. But okay. So I did show these pictures. Let me take this down. I did show the pictures of the cemetery. Okay. And we are talking about dogmen being seen around cemeteries. I do find it very interesting that not only do they have this cemetery here, I think it's a separate cemetery, but I'm not positive. I think Justin, who's in the chat right now, who said he's in Racine, he might could tell us, okay, because this is another cemetery in Racine, and it's called the Racine Mound Cemetery. And like I showed you a while ago, it's got an actual Indian burial mound in the cemetery.
That looks so fake. That looks like a home of the fae so much.
It
just
does.
screams with a circle of trees and everything. I mean,
It
gosh,
does.
I can see what it's. Yeah.
Here's
picture
a map.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, another thing that I learned about Racine is there's a lot of mounds in this area, and all through Wisconsin and down. I mean, even down through. I'm going to show you all maps of some of these mounds. We had the Mississippian mound builders. Okay, and a lot of these ran up and down where the Mississippi River is. I mean, we have Mississippian mounds in Georgia. We have the Etowah Indian mounds. I believe that's Mississippian. I think that's considered that. Let me blow up my screen here so I can see. Yeah, it's Mississippian. That's right. And we covered the Etowah Indian mounds when I was discussing the North Paulding Werewolves. Okay, it's 10 miles from the Etowah Indian mounds. That's not a whole lot of, it's not too far, actually. I was going to say in dog miles. Okay, we do know, or at least we think we know, that dogmen actually cover a lot of ground, right? They're not just, they don't probably stay in like one little area confined to like a mile radius. They're probably migrating and going all over the place, and they can do it quickly and silently for the most part. So that is another target that I've looked into not too long ago. What was that? 2 or 3 months ago, I think. But I did want to show a map. If you look at all those little red dots right there, if you guys can blow up your screens, those are mounds. Those are all the mounds, y'all. Just on the East Coast, basically, going into the Midwest. Thousands.
You know, it's also associated with those mounds, and they found a lot of remains in them that mysteriously got hushed.
Smithsonian.
Giant remains. There's been a lot of giant remains tied to them mounds as well, and they've actually found remains of giant bones buried within a regular native tribe there as well. And a lot of them were taken out and disappeared.
Man, I tell you what, yes, absolutely. And that's a shame. That is a shame. Sovereign Cosmic Wildman, what's up? He says the mounds are built near important waterways where rivers and underground rivers meet. Yes. They're a lot of them are by water.
Yeah. Water is known to the native people as the blood of Mother Earth. It's sacred. It's powerful. You need it for life. Water is also a great conduit for paranormal activity. Water has, it's got a lot of valuable properties to it. So it's very sacred to our ancestors. Every one of ours, no matter what culture you come from, they always talk about the water and the significance of water.
They do. Yes, gotta have water. That's definitely one of the best places, unless it's going to flood out there. Okay, but even with the floods, if you want to have luscious crops and all that kind of stuff, you got to be near the water. This is a depiction on the screen right now, y'all, of, I believe this is from George Washington. Okay, but this is a Indian burial mound that they were excavating. And this is on the This is actually on the Mississippi River. This is supposed to be a Mississippian mound on a diagram. Okay, so it shows you what, according to their diagram, this is what it was, what it consisted of. Okay, so it looks like a burial mound. Now, they aren't depicting those skeletons as giants, Eric, but you and I both know there were giants in some of these mounds. Not all.
I remember that picture from the history books from grade school back in the 80s. I don't know if they're still in the history books, but we used to learn about them back in the 80s in grade school. And I remember that picture from that.
Yes. Well, I don't think that we're told the exact truth. I think some things have been omitted out of our history books. And there ain't going to be no giant skeletons there probably in our Rand McNally's, whatever that was. But anyways, Yes. Okay. Well, this incident, the incident where this man encountered this dog man or whatever it was, this creature, was tasked to me as a blind CRV, coordinate remote viewing target. And I do have some really interesting data for this. Okay. And I made sure to show you guys a picture of that convent because it kind of lines up with my sketch. Okay. Which is really interesting. Okay. Well, should we get into the data? What do you think, Eric? Should we go ahead and do that?
Let's nail it down. Let's get it.
Let's just do it. Let's do it.
Let's hit it like a hound dog on a blood trail. Let's get her done.
Let's do it. Let's get her done. That's right. Kelly says bones of giants were found in southern Wisconsin. Bones of giants have been found everywhere. And when I went to the last time I went to the Etowah Indian Mounds, when I was getting out of my truck, I literally heard in my head, I heard giants. And let me tell you, those mounds out there are massive, massive, Eric. I think I have a picture somewhere of the Etowah Indian Mounds. Maybe. Oh yeah, I have one here. This is one of the mounds right there. That's one of the smaller ones actually out there. You can walk up on it on that platform and stuff. So, but this is another thing before we get into the data. This is where right down the road from where these Dogman sightings are on High Shoals Waterfalls. Okay, is where it's at. The North Paulding Dogmen. I've been there before. It's absolutely beautiful. We've gotten in the water. You can go swimming there. It's usually crowded. It's beautiful, but it's kind of crowded, so it's not that fun when there's too many people there. But this is in North Paulding, and Eric, the crazy thing is their mascot at that high school, shout out to the Wolfpack, they are the North Paulding Wolfpack. And there ain't no wolves in Paulding County. But there's wolfmen. Yeah, right?
It used to be. There still could be.
Could be. Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh.
They also say that about you too, but I've got pictures on my trail cam of red wolves and Missouri timber wolves. You know, how do I say it nicely? Because I always call them the possum cops, but the conservation agents. There we go. You know, they're about as bright as a brick sometimes. I've had arguments with them on several stuff. You know, we ain't got no cougars here in Missouri. You're wrong on that. I don't trust them when they say something ain't there.
No, you always keep an eye out. Always keep an eye out, and it helps to have proof on your game cams for sure. Your trail cams, it does. I have seen more black panthers and stuff where they're not supposed to be black panthers on game cams. Totally. Okay. Well, let's get into the data. Okay. This is what's the prompt for that one? The creature at St. Coletta Convent, encountered by Mark Shackleman, 1938. And I got a lot of data. Okay, I got to preface this by saying telling the audience that if there's, I wouldn't even have covered this if I didn't think it was real. Okay, I mean I would. I'd talk about it, but we wouldn't be going over this tonight if I didn't get enough data to validate, in my opinion, and other people's opinions who have seen the data, that this is probably real. Okay, and so here we go. So some of my sensory data for this target is flowing, allowing, dark, black, ironic, erosion, dilapidated, old, hidden, missing, and searching. Okay, some of my analytic overlay for this on my next column, I wrote down supersonic, stealthy, large animal, and underneath large animal, I wrote upright and avoidant. Upright and avoidant. I heard clairaudiently, I heard searching for the missing. I wrote down search and rescue, or SAR, search and rescue. I wrote, the next thing I wrote was planet. I don't know what that has to do with this. But plain sight, I wrote vocabulary, which is interesting because I think this thing spoke a word, right? So I wrote vocabulary. I wrote 10th degree. I don't know what that means, but 10th degree. bully. Now, this is a common theme in this data. I got a lot of bully data, like bullies, and I wrote teachers, ruler, king of the jungle, castle, and king of the castle. Okay, so when I was getting that data, when I was like sensing that data, and I wrote that down, and that's what I was seeing. I wrote down a crown. Okay, but then after I wrote this crown, I started writing all these like blocks underneath the crown. And so, Eric, okay, so let me show you what this looks like. So this was my sketch. Okay, and I know it looks kind of basic, right? But as I'm looking at like pictures of this place and I'm looking at my data, I see that. And let's go back to to the place where this was. It looks like that. I'm not saying it's like a, but I was picking up on like a castle. And to me, wait, that's not it. Yeah, to me, that could similarly, it's not a castle, but that's a big old building right there. And
I didn't think about it until you showed that, but you see that black chimney there in the center?
Yes.
You know what that really looks like?
Where they cremate people, probably.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, no. That's what I was thinking.
I didn't think that until you said that.
It just dawned on me. I was like, that looks like a crematorium chimney.
Oh, gosh. It wouldn't surprise me. Not at all. I mean, they have a cemetery on site. Okay, that's on the grounds. And this is where, I mean, I'm assuming that's where they said it was near the property right there. It was on the property. But it was digging into a mound. So my opinion, I don't know if Justin, I haven't checked the comments in a second, but if maybe Justin's up there, he can tell us. This was one of the mounds right there in Racine. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it was that mound right there that it was digging into. Because I don't know, this is the only picture I could find of the cemetery that was right there on the property. Okay, so I don't know. We'll have to find out. Let me check the comments, see if anybody wrote anything.
Well, when you enter the land of the Fae in one of those mounds, you look at the ancient Celtic folklore about Fae, and they talk about they live in mounds where there's a portal that you go through to enter the realm of the Fae.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of makes sense. Huh.
I don't know. It's really sad.
Every bit of what you just said on your remote view spoke to me besides the 10th degree, and that's what I'm racking my brain on. That fits with a lot of what we talked about, which your remote view fits a lot of what we talked about already. But man, that 10th degree, that's I'm pondering on that, and there's something significant about that.
There's something. We got a lot more data too. We got a lot more. Okay, so I was picking up on like a bully of some sort. I mean, the target is that creature. Okay, that's the target, is the creature that man encountered. Okay, so, but a king of the castle, a king. To me, I'm interpreting this as like whatever that creature was, like he thinks he rules that area right there. He's the alpha, right? That's the way I interpret it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, king of the jungle would mean the woods. What's around that? There's woods. Where does Dogman live here in the United States? They live in the woods.
Yes. Don says teacher ruler equals busted knuckles.
Oh, God, I know that feeling too well. Back when I was in grade school in St. Joe, I had a teacher that used a ruler on my knuckles a time or two.
Oh, my gosh. Yes. The kids today have no idea how good they have it. They don't get paddlings. Okay. I went to a school where if you misbehaved, you got taken to the bathroom and you got your butt whooped with a paddle. And everybody down the hall heard it.
Yeah. I've had to bend over and grab the principal's desk a time or two.
I bet you did. I don't think they do that anymore. I think it's probably against the law now.
I try to get them to do it. I said, man, you're more than welcome to do that to my kids. They act like little butt stains. I mean, go ahead. Get old Holy out, dust it off, and give her a good old smacking.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, we are so, yeah. My son has no idea. He would behave a lot better if he was threatened with a whooping at school. Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty good though. He's a good kid. He's a good kid. Okay, well, let's go to the next page. Let's go to the next page. Okay, here we go. So some of my sensory data was slick, slender. I was in an area that was earth. I wrote earthy, vegetative, and woods. I was seeing grass and trees, and I wrote down lion's mane. And I hate to say this next word because this is embarrassing. I wrote down Gucci mane. This is what remote viewing is, okay? Because the good part is I picked up on lion's mane, okay? And what do people describe Dogmen as having? Lion's mane, right?
Yeah.
Not Gucci mane. Yeah. They ain't got Gucci mane.
Wolfman's got dread.
That's called peacocking, y'all. When I pick up on one thing and like we call it peacocking. I peacocked that right into Gucci mane, okay? And that's just because it's a blind target, okay? It happens. But the Gucci mane.
Wolfman's got dreads. That's all I got to say.
Oh man, I'm from Atlanta, y'all. Okay, I know a lot of these rappers personally. But I did write that down. I never met Gucci though. Okay. But lion and lion's mane. So because I guess I'd picked up on like a large animal and something that was stealthy. It was up on, what did I write? I said upright, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's on two legs, does it? I don't know. Upright would be just like not laying down. I mean, I don't know. What do you say?
Technically on all fours, as long as they're standing, they are upright. Now, most people nowadays associate upright as being bipedal. But if you want to get technical, the technical term for upright is it's standing up. So it can be on four legs, it can be on two.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Machete says Gooch smoked like 5 guys, got away with it. So yes, he did unalive a couple people I know of, at least one. And he did get off. It was self-defense. It was a glove don't fit, you must have quit, y'all. Okay. But he actually admitted to it. Let's not get into all that, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay. But it could have some kind of connection to this. I mean, this thing could have unalived some people and gotten away with it. I'm just saying. Thank you, Machete. I appreciate that. Okay. We're reaching, but it could be true. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
I love the show. We get weird. We do. Northwest Native Tracker says, Dogmen, mountain dogmen like to live at the 500-foot elevation level. That's really cool. Thank you for that comment there. Okay. Tidbit of info. Okay, so the next thing that I wrote in my data was, it looks like a map or something. It was like I was seeing a property, like a piece of land, and it had what I wrote were man-made structures on it. So a bunch of like square structures and stuff. So I wrote man-made structures. I mean, it could be a cemetery for all I know. I mean, this is what I drew. All right. So it's just like a plot of land that had a bunch of structures on it and they were square. So 100% they could either be houses or they could be graves. It could be anything. But I was seeing that. And I wrote a large property with buildings or structures. A complex is what I wrote down. So that's where I was. I was seeing a complex. And here we go back into this like bully data kind of, because I wrote Debo, hide your chains. Okay. So I wrote that down. That's from that movie Friday. And it's where that guy that's like the bully rides up on his bicycle and he looks all cockeyed at everybody and he like steals people's stuff. So I was picking up on that energy. Okay. I can't believe I'm telling everybody this. So I picked up on that. Debo and Gucci Mane. Golly, y'all. But I heard hide your chains, and then I wrote. I picked up on I wrote down acreage, and I thought that I was like on a plantation or some kind of like big farm. Like I felt like I was on some farmland. Okay, but I was definitely picking up on something like something's here. You know, with the whole Debo energy, it's like something's coming. Hide your valuables. Okay, like pay attention to your surroundings, and don't get caught by the bully. basically. So the next page, I actually wrote down targeted individuals, a covert operation. I was picking up on something that was covert. I wrote down mess hall, and then I wrote military with a question mark beside it because I heard the phrase mess hall. And then I wrote down jungle, woods, thick vegetation, treated like soldiers. Like I was picking up on like a scenario where people were like being yelled at, like soldiers would be yelled at in the military. And I wrote down patients with a question mark beside it because I wrote down sick hall. So I was like mess hall, military, regimen, and then sick hall, which is interesting because now I'm looking back and I'm like, well, this is a place where they had people with developmental disability, people that had lobotomy. It's like a hospital, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm picking up on that. So,
but you still in the chat? I'm curious now. Was that place ever used, and when was it established, and was it ever used as a military headquarters at one time? You know what I mean? Like kind of like with the Pythian Castle, the military came in during World War II and took it over. I'm kind of curious about that.
I'm curious too. Yeah, well, I actually, I actually had a website that talked about the Kennedys and the daughter Rosemary living there and having that lobotomy and everything, and it gave some history of it, but I took it off my screen, so I don't have it anymore. But yeah, it'd be interesting to dive into the history behind that place a little bit more. I mean,
I'm trying to remember the name of that place. What was the name of that place again? That's bugging me because it's to me.
It is called the Saint Coletta, Coletta convent, Saint Coletta convent in Racine, Wisconsin. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's bugging me because, man.
You know, there's another thing too. I know I've still got a little bit more data to go over, but it's like, Bigfoot Dwarf and I did a show a long time ago on, we talked about some of these old world buildings and stuff and like things being founded and, the potential of like a mud flood. I talked about that. I did a remote viewing target of the mud flood stuff too. But some of these buildings, like these insane asylums, I think it was Jesus from Breaking Bad was on my show. Jesus Payan Jr. a long time ago. He's the one that kind of opened me up to all this stuff, right? To kind of told me about it. But we were talking about these buildings. Like, why do they have so many insane asylums back in the day? And like, what were these buildings? Like, could this have been like an old world building or something? I mean, I know it's not that ornate. Okay. It's not ornate. I mean, but it is a big building. It doesn't have like that old world architecture so much to it, or Tartarian architecture, but there were a lot. I mean, or maybe it does. It looks kind of like a castle. It kind of does. It looks like some of these prisons. We got prisons. We've got breweries. We've got insane asylums and hospitals, like mental facilities and stuff. I mean, this is one of those. Was this another building that was founded too? I mean, how old is this place really?
So 1904, the story of family in need, lack of facilities who cared for the youth with disabilities, lack of training for those children to reach full potential. On September 10th, 1904, St. Coletta of Wisconsin opened with 5 students as a school that incorporated faith. It also talks about the Franciscan mission, innovative training, exceptional children, intensifying our mission, growing in faith, the Wisconsin Special Education Teachers Study. I mean, so this has got a lot with, dealing with it was just, it's been something dealing with education. I haven't seen anything military based on it yet. So it's interesting. 1904, so that after Civil War.
Well, it says it was I mean, was it founded or was it built then? That's another.
So it was
I mean,
founded
it's
in
just
1904.
founded. So founded means it was probably there before, and they just repurposed that building.
Let me make
Okay.
sure I remember.
I'm just saying. And yeah, Primal Cry says experimental medical procedures. Yeah, you know what? How about this angle here too? Re-education camps. Okay.
That's kind of where I was getting at because of
Yep.
everything it's talking about in there screams that. And people with very high IQs back then were not very well liked, especially if they were outside certain family classes. So they would misunderstand these people with this high intelligence and they would send them to places like this. I'm also thinking when we're talking about, you brought up an extremely valuable point. Look at how many of these things were created across the country. So you got during 1904, you got the times of the Depression going on. You got people without family, people without homes. What is these places well known for? Testing things on people that are not mentally stable, testing all these different techniques on them, doing all this different stuff. But I can see where that plays in. Yeah,
a lot of lobotomies, apparently, and a really concerning thing would be if that is a crematory stack, that chimney right there too. How many people died there? Like, what are the real stats behind that place?
God, I'd love doing a paranormal investigation to that place. You can imagine what we can dig up.
Yeah, I don't want to be there for that. I don't. Oh my gosh, no, thank you. You go have fun with that one. Okay. Yeah. Well, I was picking up on something that was like militaristic kind of, and I wrote down mess hall and sick hall. Okay, and something where there was a regimen practices, regimen. There was a regimen every day. Okay, and that could
training. It said it right there. In initiative training, that would fit with regiment. They would have their own little hospital. They would have their own little stats. It was ran by the nuns, which means the nuns run schools kind of like what we do in the military. So I mean that all fits in.
It does. It does. Okay. Well, I picked up on people and humans. I was picking up on a lot of people during this target too, and I wrote down the last thing I wrote down was on-site large operation. On-site large. So I was definitely. I'm going to say that I was definitely on that property. I was definitely in the facility. I was definitely remote viewing that facility 100%. Now I did in the very beginning of the target. Okay. So that's how remote viewing works too. Kind of like you kind of might veer off target a little bit. Like I'm on target, but I'm off target. I'm still in the vicinity, but like my target was that big animal in the very beginning. And I went exploring the whole property basically is what I did. So going back, so that was the end of that session right there. But let's go back and focus on the data that pertains to the creature. A large upright avoidant creature in my sensory data said dark black and hidden and searching and missing. And I was picking up on something that was like a search and rescue kind of thing. Maybe that just pertained to that guy looking for it too. Because it really doesn't tell us exactly what it was doing there unless it was searching for something. Unless the creature was there searching for something. But I do believe that whatever this was, the creature feels like it ran the place. Like that was its territory. Like it owned that territory right there. And it was a bully to anybody but see, there's not a lot of reports of this thing other than with that one man, unless it was covered up.
Yeah, I mean, it could be its ancestral lands, but something just clicked in my head when 1904. I was thinking about 1904. What happened to the native people when they were removed to reses or removed off their ancestral lands? They were sent to a lot of these Catholic places of education. A lot of torment, a lot of torture happened. If this Dogman is tied to the native ancestral lands, and that had actually happened there, that would fit very. See, what is Wisconsin? Wisconsin is I can't remember what tribe's in Wisconsin. Oh my gosh, I ought to look that up. That would make sense. if that was actually native land at one time, well, everything you're talking about makes sense. And if the native children were sent there at one time for re-education, huh?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Really,
Yeah.
that's a whole new angle to look at it at, because I'm thinking of just like the land in general, like the cemeteries, you know, and the Indian the burial mounds that are right there. The man said that it was digging into the mound two nights in a row. It was digging into that mound, but like, how deep? First of all, how deep did he get into that mound? Okay, obviously it wasn't that deep. What was it digging for? I mean, that would be another really great target to give like my team or something, to be like, okay, let's figure out what this thing. Now that I've established, I do believe that this was a real event. I believe there was a real creature there that this guy saw. Yeah. Let's get further. Let's go deeper into it.
Yeah.
Let's do some more remote viewing on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to know what it was digging for. Why was it there? And why did the guy never see it again? He said that he smelled it. He said that he had that same smell. Why would it smell? Okay, we know like Bigfoot stink. Not all of them. Not all. But they can.
Chippewa.
Is it Chippewa?
Yeah, Corey. I just happened to look down, and as soon as I did, I seen Corey say Chippewa. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Corey. But the man said that he never saw it again. He smelled it. He smelled it. I've not very often heard people say that dogmen smell like rotting flesh too. What I do hear that smells like rotting flesh are demons and stuff. I'm not saying this thing was a demon or demonic, but what if? Mm-hmm. Well,
I don't think it was, but I believe that practice is probably, there's probably some type of entity there of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Primal Cry says, how many missing and unalive by the hands of those perceived to protect?
Yeah,
that's true too. Because there could have been some experimentation done there. And I mean, people, it seems like they just kind of put them there to hide away their families from society that didn't measure up by their standards. I mean, we're perfect example with Rosemary Kennedy being there. And she must have really upset her dad or something. Like some people said it was probably she was bipolar. I am no doctor. I can't diagnose people, and I certainly didn't know her. I wasn't even born back then. But it seemed as though a lot of these places that were insane asylums. I mean, we had the women's hospital down in Milledgeville, Georgia. Okay, the women's, it was like what they call it, like an insane asylum or something. They call it the women's hospital, but it's where they would put lunatics and stuff, you know, like women that were having mental breakdowns and stuff. And a lot of times if a man just, I mean, this is a long time ago. I mean, I'm assuming that if a man just didn't want to be married to his wife anymore, he'd go check her into the women's hospital and forget about her. And there was really back in the day, there was probably not a whole lot she could do about it.
No, I mean, there was the same thing during the witch trials, which everybody associates that with Salem. They don't realize Salem was an extremely small part of that witch trial stuff. But the same thing would happen back in them times. They would do it with them insane asylums too. You're like, man, I'm getting tired of you, so I'm going to kick you over here and get me something new. That was very common.
That's terrible. People should not do that. There's karma for that. Okay. Bad karma. But yeah. And I mean, and if a woman probably, or anybody, if they fight back, they probably just get a lobotomy. And, God forbid there's like a that happens. I've heard rumors. I don't think it's going to happen now, but there were rumors several years ago, not too long ago, that there were like re-education camps being set up around the United States, like FEMA camps and stuff, where they were 100% ready to go start shipping people down into those things. And I kept my eye on it. Okay. It's really, really scary how close we came to that, I do believe. But yeah, it's got to be a really helpless feeling getting locked away somewhere like that. But yeah, there's just there's a whole lot of facets to this, a lot of facets. And of course, our focus tonight is the Dogman. Okay, well, whatever this creature was that was there, and the fact that he did mutter those words, and I want to say mutter, but did it mutter the words or was it mind speak? That's another question that we have, Eric. Ron Ivy, who's in the chat sometimes, Ron Riley, sent me a message today. He put a comment on my social media on Facebook. He said, well, he had heard that it was actually mind speak that occurred when this creature talked to that man. Said that it was mind speak. He didn't actually hear it. And here's another thing. You know, I've talked about how I've heard my own voice yell from across the creek one night, and it said time travel, and it was very loud, and it took me weeks to realize that was my own voice. But nonetheless, I heard it, but the people beside me didn't hear it. Okay, so you know, did the creature's mouth move, or did he hear it in his head? I mean, it's probably something that he had never experienced before. If it was a telepathic kind of communication, he probably wasn't paying attention if his mouth was moving.
I mean, if it was mind speaking, it'd be a lot more clear than if it spoke from its mouth, because most of your encounters from old times and them talking about them talking actually with their lips, they've got like a guttural growl when they speak. You know, it's not how you and I talk. It's more, you know, when they talk, because they can't form the words like, you know, they're with their mouth like we can. So that would make sense if it did mind speak to him that word. It would be more clear than if you tried to speak it, you know, something like that.
Yeah, very, very guttural. I can only imagine. I mean, I've heard. Okay, what I imagine if a dogman spoke, it would sound like a husky. Have you ever heard huskies? Man, those things are vocal. Those are vocal.
I had a cat that talked. You know, yeah. I mean, actually, Aurora talks too. She says hi and hello. And you can tell it's, you know, it sounds very humanish, but you can tell it's not because of how she speaks. But somebody on another end would swear it's human because they're not right there next to them. I've had that happen to me before with my ex-wife's mom.
She's like, "Who's that other woman over there in the background?"
She did. Gosh. Yeah, she did. Yeah, because my cat said, "I love you." She goes, "Right, love you." And
she's like, "I heard that."
She thought I had. Yeah, she was like, "Who's that woman in the house saying I love you?" Blah. Does my daughter know? Blah blah blah. It's like, dude, that's my cat.
Oh my gosh, that is too funny. That is really funny. Yeah. Don, there are so many different meanings of Gadarah in here, and Don says Gadarah is an ancient Greco-Roman town in modern-day Jordan that has another name as well, known for the graves around the town.
Mm-hmm.
Graves.
Yeah, say Jordan. That's what I popped up on my list.
Didn't you say Jordan earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very interesting. Yep. Hey, Patrick. Good to see you here. Yeah. Well, I think it's all I still have way more questions. Okay, I have like way more questions and answers for all this stuff. But if we could just start connecting some dots here and, you know, having this encounter, I do believe through my remote viewing data, I do believe this really did happen. I think that this guy did encounter a dogman, and there's such a huge amount of dogman sightings in Wisconsin, in Michigan, Ohio. I mean, that is like dogman triangle up there. Big old. I mean, there's a lot of dogman triangles. Okay, but this is that's an area with a lot of dogmen. Let's see. I don't know if I have my map here, but when we're looking at the maps, I don't have a map of all the dogman sightings. I should have pulled one up. But I would assume through all of these reports that we get and everything, I would assume that they probably are concentrated, just like that map we have of like the missing persons clusters at our national parks. Mm-hmm. I'm going to assume if we lined up the Mound map, like this map right here, with the dogman sightings maps, I bet that they're going to correlate, I would think. So that would be a really interesting map to put on top of this one.
Yeah, you'd be surprised on how well it'll match up to that, because you know we've all seen the Bigfoot map. You know where all the sightings Bigfoot. Dogman lays perfectly in line with that, which also lays perfectly in line with the missing 411, which also lays in line with caves.
Yeah. I show that at all of the presentations that I give. I speak publicly a lot. And I always make sure to show all the maps. We have the Bigfoot sighting map. We have the caves. This is the missing persons in the caves maps right here, y'all. But I show the UFO sightings map. I show the Bigfoot map. And now we definitely need to get a Dogman sighting map as well and line that up with the Mounds.
Yeah, there is one, and it does line up pretty good.
Yeah. Well, okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Beast of Bray Road, okay, because that is actually a more modern day famous account of the Dogman, okay, in that same area. This is the same area, and I'm not going to pull all this up. I do have a video. We've already covered this before, and so it's on my playlist it's the Beast of Bray Road under my remote viewing investigations. But I'm going to read a little bit about the Beast of Bray Road, and this is what we were showing earlier with that weird dog with the bone arms. I mean, I don't know about that, Eric. That's just weird. Okay, I don't know. That's got to be some kind of taxidermy
prank.
That's a prank. There's no way it's not. Well, this is from an eyewitness account right here. This sketch, this drawing. So the Beast of Bray Road is said to be a humanoid, wolf-like creature that has been reported in the rural area of Elkhorn, same exact area where we were just doing our remote viewing on. Well, it's actually not the same exact area. It's right beside it. I'm going to show you guys. So I'm going to show you this map of Elkhorn, and then let's go back and look at Racine. It is this close. Okay. Nice. I mean, what is that? 30-minute drive or so?
If that, yeah.
It looks close to me. It looks close. Okay. Let me pull this picture back up. Okay. So it's not that far. And it says it was originally spotted on a farm road called Bray Road. Okay, called Bray Road. The Beast of Bray Road is often reported around 7 feet tall, covered in hair. By the way, the Dogman creature that man encountered at the convent was 6 feet tall. He said it was 6 feet tall, in all black, covered in black fur or black hair. The Beast of Bray Road is often reported as being around 7 feet tall, covered in hair, walking on 4 legs or 2 legs. It has a body similar to a human and the head of a wolf or a bear. Ooh, zombie bears. Okay. But some say it looks like a Bigfoot or a werewolf. Here's another artist picture of it. The creature was allegedly first sighted in 1936. Now, so they are actually, from what I wrote a lot back in 2022 is when I had to remote view this. I actually included this in this data because I said it was originally sighted in 1936. Now that wouldn't, I think that includes what we're talking about today with the racing Dogman. But in the 1980s and 1990s, several alleged witnesses reported the beast had made contact with their vehicles, leaving long scratch marks on doors and trunks of vehicles. One witness said she hit something while crossing Bray Road. When she exited her vehicle to determine what she had hit, a large wolf-like creature with red eyes chased her back into the car, leaving claw marks in the rear passenger door. Sightings have also been reported during the daylight hours, with several witnesses stating they observed an unusually large wolf-like creature running on all fours through the cornfields. And that was the Beast of Bray Road. My data concluded that there were a bunch of different Beasts of Bray Roads, of Bray Road. And I don't know. It must have been kind of clumped in with this old target that I did a little bit. That's interesting. You know what's interesting too is that in my data, I'm looking at my data right here on my screen. It says digging, and it's interesting because this one that we're talking about tonight was digging, right? Digging into these burial mounds. And I wrote down Alpha
that
Mound
one was like one of the first shows. Yeah. You know, I keep thinking about this military aspect you had in your data. It makes me wonder if there's a dumb close by there, and if that couldn't be one of the experimental ones, because we know a lot of whistleblowers reports talk about how dogmen are hard to control, where a werewolf is more easily to control because a dogman still keeps this bestial mentality, where a werewolf still keeps a lot of its humanity. So it makes me wonder if there's a dumb close by to where that sighting was.
Well, these are supposed to be some of the tunnels and the dumb entrances right here. And there does seem to be some dumbs. Okay, but I don't see a dot right over that, but I see some on the western side of the state down there at the bottom. Okay,
ain't nothing for a dogman.
It ain't nothing for a dogman. They can run real fast.
That's nothing for a dogman.
Exactly. That's a great point, though. And who's to say the military is not utilizing this facility as well? You know, I mean, I was picking up on a whole lot of military type data. I mean, they could be doing like weird experiments there and stuff. I mean, shoot. As much as I've been talking about like MK Ultra mind control and stuff like that too. I mean, if they're performing lobotomies on people and stuff, using test subjects, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's kind of reaching and going down a rabbit hole that's unnecessary.
Damn, is that my internet?
I don't know. Is there something wrong? I think Eric's internet must be wonky. I hope it's not mine. But yes, I'm still caught up on the lobotomies, y'all, as well. And I think that is a horrible thing to do to people. And hopefully they know, hopefully they don't still perform those on people. I hope. I sure hope they don't. Let me see. Okay, let me take Eric down and pull him back up. Here we go.
I lost internet. I don't know why my internet's still showing. I was like, damn, is that my internet? And all of a sudden, bam, it was gone. You were talking robotic.
It's usually mine. It's usually mine. I was trying to look to see if that was my internet or yours. I never know. I get a little glitchy. Yeah, I always get a little glitchy over here. Yeah. It's all good. Cold Fusion says they got your guest. I know we're always hopping in and out of portals on my channel, y'all. Okay, it's a time experiment.
Yeah, it's probably they came out and they supposedly fixed mine. It's running a smidge better when it was, but that's the first time it's dropped since they've been out to fix it. So, but we did have storms coming in, so that may be what's affecting it.
Anti-Venom has a really good point too. Okay, the military could be sending the folks they broke mentally there to forget about.
Yep, I can agree with that. Yeah, I can get on that ship.
Wow. Well, this place is still, now this is all for entertainment purposes only, y'all. Okay. And the facility is still in operation today. Okay. Now I'm not sure if they're still in that same building today. I think they are. Okay. I think they are. But it is still in operation and they do a lot of good work for especially students or young people. I think it's people of all ages, actually, because I was looking at their website. It looked like there are people of all ages there with developmental disabilities there. And, you know, I'm thinking like we're focused on the 1930s, okay, like the 1930s, 1936, and things were probably different, a lot different back then. Okay, probably a lot different back then, but who knows? Okay, and
yeah.
I mean, because well, we also talk about, Eric, I always say like, well, there's, you know, we talk about this experimentation that goes on in these deep underground military bases. And yes, stuff does go down in deep underground military bases, but things could also be hidden right in front of us as well, right? In facilities like this, just like Anti-Venom saying, like, could be here above ground.
Look how many alphabet soup companies operate in just broad, you know, daylight in front of your view, right under your nose. You don't even know. You could think it's a butcher shop. Underneath it could be something completely different. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these spy movies they put out there and this other stuff, people don't realize how realistic that stuff actually is. You can walk into a tailor store and you go out the back door and it's something else. It's definitely happens.
Oh yeah. Yes, there's a. It's funny, Colleen. Yeah, there's a. I think that there's more that goes on right underneath our noses. Okay, than we can imagine. We want to think that it's all underground. We were even talking. I had my buddy James Rink on the show on Monday, and we were talking about biospheres under the ocean, and he had given me a blind target to remote view for the show on Monday, and he didn't tell me what it was till we went live on the show, and it turned out to be something called Project Seagate. Are you familiar with that? Have you even heard of Project Seagate?
Oh, that sounds familiar.
I'd never heard of it.
That Seagate. God, I know that one.
Well, let me tell you what he said. So the target was a facility. It's like a biosphere underwater facility, and we've been kind of toying around with the idea of like there being elite underwater cities and things like that. We're seeing these USOs right coming in and out of the ocean, and we're being told like there's facilities and stuff under the ocean. And this was one of those targets. James said that there is a facility that this is what my target was a facility called Jackson Facility right off the coast of Jacksonville, Florida.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say Florida, and then you said Jacksonville, Florida. I was like, okay, yep, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Well, that's also not too far from where all those ley lines intersect too, Eric, like where the Bermuda Triangle is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't you think that they're probably harnessing all that energy down there, doing something crazy?
It wouldn't surprise me, because I was talking to you, back when we first started talking and getting to know each other. I was talking to you about something I ran into in the military back when I had a certain clearance, and it was actually under the file of Project Looking Glass, and that was that ancient Anunnaki art mirror that they have to take to certain places on the planet with a certain energy to be able to predict like 15,000 or 150,000 different scenarios. So yeah, I could see them having something close to that because that's a high energy place.
It is. It's also, I mean, okay, Jacksonville's on the northern Atlantic side of Florida. I was going to mention like Coral Castle too. A lot of anomalous stuff going on in Florida, of course, like right there on the Atlantic coast, right where just west of the Bermuda Triangle, basically. But thank you, Sovereign Cosmic Wildman. He says Project Seagate was talking about Aaron McCullough. He was previously interviewed by Carrie Cassidy. I'll be with her actually down at the James's conference in October down in Orlando, Florida, by the way. Carrie Cassidy, I can't wait to meet her. 15 years ago. So thank you so much, Sovereign. That's right. I did hear about that. And I'm not sure if that's where James got the information from, but that's what he had me remote viewing for my show on Monday. So if you guys missed that show, please go back and watch it. It's so good. It's really good. So yeah. I missed this earlier. LB, thank you so much for that super sticker. Amazing channel. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, LB. Yeah, I seen that, and then I got sidetracked thinking about military and Native children being moved off, and I forgot all about it after that. Sorry about that, LB. You're awesome, dude.
Oh no, I appreciate your support so much, LB. Thank you so much for that. And there's been a lot of talk about Atlantis lately too, and I don't know if there was an insinuation that like they've built stuff like this over like where Atlantis might have been, or this is part of Atlantis, or like what? There's something. So there's some kind of connection.
I'm a firm believer. Atlantis, there may have been a city Atlantis, but Atlantis actually covered quite a bit of the globe. So, I mean, in one aspect or another, could it be tied with with Atlantis? Yeah, it's a good possibility because you look at a lot of your historical texts and it kind of shows that Atlantis wasn't in one small spot. It covered most of the globe. So that makes sense.
It does. It does. I was watching something that was kind of weird earlier today. There were people that were like, this is on TikTok or somebody was covering this on Instagram. And it was like a bunch of people chanting. It's almost like a ritual. They're chanting, Atlanta is Atlantis. Atlanta is Atlantis. And I was like, that's weird. Actually, Atlanta used to be called Terminus. Atlanta, the name Atlanta is pretty new, actually. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
if you actually do research on your towns or your cities, they actually had previous names in the name that you know them. There's very few of them still have its original name. They were all known as something prior to what you know it as.
Fun fact, the capital of Georgia used to be Milledgeville, and that is where the women's hospital is that I just mentioned, the Milledgeville Hospital for Women, the lunatic asylum. It was down in Milledgeville. That used to be the capital of Georgia. I think that's an old world building, like a repurposed building, maybe. Is what it looks like. It's a big one. So, yeah, Atlanta is Atlantis. I thought that was weird and kind of funny, and it is what it is. Maybe it is Atlantis. I don't know. I mean, but it's called Terminus because of the railroads.
It was in Futurama.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah. I like that cartoon. I haven't seen that in a while. That's a good one.
Bender's the man.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Strange days, man. Strange days. And I don't know. I guess we could talk. What else we got here? Let me see the pictures if I've covered everything tonight. I did want to mention this too. Here's one more thing. And what's up, beautiful little doggy? I love your dogs when they come and get in the picture with you.
Yeah, I do apologize earlier. Boar, I just got home, and so I was being attacked by both Snow here and Boar, and Boar kept knocking my headphones out. I was like, "Oh God, stop!" Because he thinks he's still a lap dog.
They're adorable, super adorable. They're so sweet.
Yeah,
They love you.
Yeah, he's got his little spot up here on my desk that he likes to sit. I don't have the fan on right now, so he's looking at me going, "Hey, dude, hello, why ain't you got the fan on?"
Well, they're adorable. Speaking of dogs, we're going to go back to the North Paulding werewolves that I was talking about earlier. I was showing the picture of the High Shoals waterfalls. That's where they're at. I used to live out there, so I wouldn't talk about it ever, but I don't live there anymore. So I talk about it all I want. Okay. I've got family out there still, but I don't live there. So y'all go out there and do whatever go out there and do some dogman hunting, whatever. Well, I never go out there. But it is near High Shoals Road, I think is what it's called, where these waterfalls are. And I wanted to point out that right there, honestly, like not too far down the road is where another, like a Civil War battle had taken place there, Eric. And we're talking about some pretty major battles happened. The Battle of New Hope Church, that was a big Civil War battle, actually happened up there. We had Pickett's Mill is in the same area. Yeah, it is. Pickett's Mill is right down the road. That is actually where my son and I heard the cannons firing late one night when we were leaving the battlefield from an event that we were at the battlefield, and the cannons weren't firing, but the ground was shaking and we heard it. Okay. But there was nobody shooting off cannons that night, but we heard it and we felt it. And that's right down the road from here, literally just right down the road, in the Battle of New Hope as well. And you can find all these historical, drawings and historical information. If you want to look into this, you can also look up the Kennesaw battlefield as well. That's just right down the road from here. Lots of fighting, lots of bloodshed happened right there, where these Dogman sightings are. And actually, if you go just north of there is where the Etowah Indian Mounds are, not even 10 minutes down the road. All of this is like in one big place. It's right here. If you guys are wondering where Paulding is, it's right here on the map. And just north, I think it's like northeast or just north of there is where the Etowah Indian Mounds are. And if you go just north of that is where the Dalton Dogmen and werewolves were reported. And also, if you just go northwest of there is Floyd County, where the family was attacked by a werewolf, a 9-foot tall werewolf in the past 5 years, maybe in the past 3 years. But a family was attacked by a werewolf on their property out there. Something had been ripping off the game cameras off their trees and destroying them. And the dad went out there, the granddad went out on his side-by-side, or his mule, his gator, and was riding around. And noticed that all the cameras had been ripped down and ripped apart. And he went and got his son, the kids, and they went for a ride and they got accosted. I think the werewolf actually grabbed one of the kids. The whole family saw it. But he got away. But nonetheless, that was the Georgia werewolf attack. And I have a show on that if you guys want to go back in the archives. On the Hunt. Go look up On the Hunt. Georgia werewolf attack. So all that happened right there. Eric, what are the odds? Okay. It's like just a big concentration of a lot of Dogman sightings and reports in one area there in Georgia.
Like I can see that because if you recall, I had your remote view that Dogman case that I'm on, Dogman / werewolf, which I'm kind of more on the side of I think it is actual werewolf deal, but in the area that I'm doing that investigation where the sightings are, there has been a lot of civil wars battles fought in that area, some bloody ones too, not counting family feuds and everything else. So if you actually look at a lot of your Dogman or werewolf sightings, they do take places where there's a lot of death, a lot of negativity, especially on the werewolf side of it more than the Dogman. And I could see that being a possibility, yeah.
Yes. And thank you, Colleen. She says, some of these places in the South were mounds, flat top earth pyramids connected to the Mayan pyramids, ancient trade route, direct alignment on latitude and longitudes, and indigenous trade routes. We do have Mayan ruins at Track Rock Gap up in North Georgia. I think that's near Helen, if I'm not mistaken.
We do here.
Do you?
I've actually got one right down the road I'm trying to get permission to go check out. That's not on the map and it's not been documented, and he doesn't want it documented or his name stated because he doesn't want anything to happen to his property. But yeah, that's just 20 minutes from me.
Well, this actually, okay, let me take that comment down there. Hold on one second. This is what they refer to. I can't remember the actual name of this, but they call it the Romeo and Juliet Mound. This is in Helen, Georgia. This is it's right outside of Helen, actually. But this is a mound. It's in the middle of a cow pasture, and it has a little fence around it. But it has a gazebo. This is kind of common too. It's really odd. I don't know why they put gazebos on top of these mounds. But that's an old gazebo.
Yeah, look at the corners. You can literally see the corners on that. See the one there to the left going out, and then that one underneath that gazebo coming at you. You can literally see the corners on that mound.
Wow, I guess you can. And I wonder, I've even seen mounds, Eric, that have houses built on top of them as well. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what kind of poltergeist stuff that is. Okay. It does seem as though that might be a little dangerous to build a house on top of a burial mound. Just saying.
If it's a burial mound, it could be just like we was talking. It could be a small like pyramid or something like that. So you're subconsciously we're attracted to sacred areas. We're drawn to them because it's part of our DNA. It's a part of our history about worshiping and respecting sacred areas. So if that's a sacred spot, that makes sense why people are constantly doing. They're doing it subconsciously because they don't even think about it because it's just ingrained in our DNA.
That's true. Yes. And Corey says, Colleen, I've heard there are more pyramids covered up here than there are in Egypt. I've heard that too. Yep.
We've got two different. We got here in Missouri, we got what we call the Egyptian style, which is the triangle. And then we've also got what a lot of people associate with the Mayans and the Aztecs with the step pyramids. And we have another kind that is domed, I believe. Yeah, we got 3 different kinds here in Missouri alone.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have several Mississippian mounds here. We got old Mogi. We've got the Romeo and Juliet one I just showed you. We got the Etowah Indian mounds are the biggest in Georgia. But we've also got a place I think it's in Alabama called Moundsville. I'm pretty sure it's just like a whole bunch of mounds there. There's mounds everywhere. But like Colleen said, the pyramids, now the Track Rock Gap up in North Georgia is covered up. It's actually kind of difficult to find. And I know that there are people that I don't know if I actually hesitated to ever talk about it because they were getting vandalized and stuff up there. It's kind of hard to get to. I'm pretty sure I've been there. I think the head of my Bigfoot team took a couple of us up there one day. We went hiking, and I'm pretty sure I saw it. But today, like, people gone up there and completely put graffiti all over it and all that. It's just ruins of an ancient Mayan pyramid up there. So it's really pathetic. People have to go destroy stuff like that. Okay. But it's just a part of defacing our true history, unfortunately.
Evil tries to demolish what is good, and evil also tries to demolish what is historical.
Yeah.
It's that thing about evil.
Yes. Well, I have a sneaking suspicion there's probably some dogmen up there. And speaking of dogmen, hey, Mark. Mark Green's in the chat. And Mark actually just had a possible dogman encounter over on his property in Alabama. Speaking of Alabama as well. And yes, Mark, I need to get you back on the show. We need to talk about it sometime. If you're free, I'll hit you up. But yeah, he's out in Alabama, and he lives about, we'll see, he's about.
Speaking of Dogman.
There's your dog. He doesn't live too far from where I had that encounter with those two strange creatures that are probably dogmen when I was leaving Alabama, the National Forest that night. He just lives right down the road from there. So very well. Sounded very similar to what I saw, actually, the way he described it. What he saw. It was chasing some deer out of the woods at his house. And yeah, it's never a good sign if you got two bucks that run right at you, okay, out of the woods. There's something chasing those things usually. They're not going to run right up on you like that, but not normally. Not normally. Yeah, Don says Cairo, Illinois is big time mounds. Yeah, if you notice, it's Cairo, right? Egyptian towns, Egyptian names. Memphis has pyramid. I mean, we need to do some more deep diving into the Egyptian settlements here in the United States, including Lake Norris, y'all. Please do some more. We need to do more research on Lake Norris and that ancient Egyptian temple that they covered up with these man-made lakes. I know I sound like a broken record talking about this, but I think that this will explain why we're having a lot of these dogman sightings around some of these lakes and these national parks and stuff. They've covered up these ancient Egyptian settlements with our man-made lakes.
Mm-hmm.
Covered up a lot of our history with these man-made lakes. Yeah, I can't.
Sorry, I got this dogman messing with me, little knucklehead.
I was gonna say I came close to going over my data, actually doing my data for the Hoover Dam. Actually, I didn't know if my audience would be interested in that, but remote viewing the Hoover Dam and what's in it and under it. Maybe I'll cover that next week.
There's a lot of high strangeness with Hoover Dam. I ain't gonna lie. That'd be a good.
Yes, and that's right, Sovereign. Man-made lakes created by man-made dams, clogging up Earth's and Terra's energies. Absolutely, that's exactly what it's doing. The currency is not flowing correctly, and there's been so much to prevent our current chi. That's what I like to call it, from flowing. So yeah, this is something we definitely need to dive more into. If you guys are interested in hearing about the Hoover Dam, let me know. Please let me know. Y'all put it in the comments. And maybe we'll go over that. I know Arkeem wanted to do another target, but I really wanted to go over Hoover Dam. I just didn't know if the audience would be into that. So, but there may be pyramids. They say there's a pyramid underneath it. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I've heard so many different things. Because there's a lot of evidence showing that the Egypt we know of is not where we know it to be. It's actually here.
Well, they've done a lot of any place where they do like weird rituals and stuff and have a whole lot of occult symbolism and everything like down there. And it's worth looking into. Just saying. It's worth looking into. And
I do too. I think lot of ancient technology, a lot of ancient power sources and stuff like that that's associated with Hoover Dam, and I believe it's like a how do you it's like a freaking leech. It's leeching off of that, and it's also probably the high history.
Yeah. Well, I think it's part of our hidden history series. That would be part of a hidden history series, and I think it would go right up there with just Tartarian Empire stuff, and it doesn't involve cryptids, but it could, I guess. I mean, we're talking about like trying to connect the dots is like, why do we have Dogman sightings in certain places and as opposed to others, and we're making the connection to the mounds. What if there is a pyramid underneath the Hoover Dam? Okay, what if? And you got to think about it too, like this. I've heard, and I've seen on dollar bills. I don't know what denominational or whatever number of bill it is, but if you fold it just right, it looks like the Hoover Dam's breaking. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've heard that. Yeah,
I've
done the volcano. Yeah, I've done the volcano and some other stuff, but yeah, I believe I've seen the one with the looks like the Hoover Dam breaking. I've seen the one with the 9/11 deal. So I mean, it doesn't surprise me. That's been a long time since I've seen that, though.
Yeah. Well, there are rumors that the dam might break, I think, and that's what was on those. It's like they showed the Twin Towers. It looks like it, and it may just all be for entertainment purposes only, y'all. But you can fold the dollars in like the paper money. You can fold it in certain ways, and it looks like it's a succession of like the towers falling and like the rubble smoking. And there's one that I believe there's one with the Hoover Dam breaking or something like that. So why not? Why not look into it? Why not look into it?
Everybody seems to want to do it. You never know, you might find Megatron in there like they did in the movie.
Yeah. We might. I did see some yays instead of not. I didn't see any nays. I saw a bunch of yays for the Hoover Dam. So maybe we'll cover that one. I think that would get I think it's worth looking into, y'all. Okay. Body barrels. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about the Hoover Dam, but I've got some remote viewing data, and I can do some research on it.
What's sad is as much death is tied to building that thing and the curses that's tied to building that thing. That was sacred native land at one time. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff tied to Hoover Dam. It's just an interesting place.
Mm-hmm. Well, like a lot of these other monuments, I don't know if they consider the Hoover Dam a national monument. I don't know, but it's there's a lot of deaths that is that one of the places where they had like they put the bodies into the construction of it. Whenever they die, they just kind of put them in the concrete.
Yeah, so
it is
the original engineer. He got unalived while doing that, and then like 18 months later, I think it was, his son was.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Well, kind of like it's kind of similar to the Blucifer. Remember the Blucifer? The guy was creating Blucifer, that horse that has connections to like MK Ultra and the Montauk Project and mind control stuff at the Denver airport. And the guy who was creating that, I think he died. I think the thing fell on him or something. And I'm not saying they put him inside that thing, nothing like that, but there's some kind of ritualistic connection to all this. So
it's just mortar for the wall.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible. Okay, that's really horrible, really bad.
It is,
but it happens, and that's the same with like London Bridge and some of these other bridges and stuff, like these big landmarks. There are bodies inside those. In the construction of those.
Yeah, in any type of big construction there is. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well over that. Yeah.
Yeah, LB says over 100 people died building the Hoover Dam. And let's see, and cosmic Sovereign Cosmic Wildman, sorry, says the 2 statues guarding the dam are symbolic of what's under the dam. Those are like winged creatures or something, right? Yeah.
I haven't thought about that. Huh.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, I think this is a good place to kind of bring it to a conclusion tonight. This has been a really fantastic show. And I think we're going to have to cover the Hoover Dam, y'all. I think we will. There's some occult stuff going on with that. And I think it's worth looking into. Okay. So, well, this has been pretty fantastic. What do you think, Eric? Do you have any final thoughts on our racing Dogman encounter tonight and all these burial mounds?
So yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think it was an actual sighting. And I'm kind of conflicted. I don't know. Part of me wants to say it was something with traditional, tribal land for its tribe. But when you get all that military stuff put in it as well, it just makes me wonder, if that don't have, and it could have been one that they captured and it got loose and went back to its ancestral lands. I mean, that very well could be the case. Absolutely. I think it's an actual deal. And the fact that, you got all them sightings from, Bunk Road and plus there at different times. I mean, this shows you there's something there. There's absolutely something there.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I think that it was neat to be able to go through and talk about the history of that place and of the convent, and to even, I just enjoy doing the remote viewing and comparing the data to the facts and stuff like that. And just kind of finding a middle ground with all of that. I really do. My heart goes out to Rosemary Kennedy. I said a little prayer for her when I was reading about what happened to her out there at this facility. Yeah. It's really sad. And she didn't deserve what happened to her. And of course she lived a pretty long life. I think she passed away, I want to say in 2015, maybe. I can't remember the exact date, 2019 or 2015. So it was recent. So she lived to be ripe old age. Yeah, she did. But nonetheless, these places where they hold this trauma, any kind of, I don't see that same stack in the recent picture, Eric. Do you see it?
You know what? I don't. No, I don't.
Or maybe it might be on that back side in the middle right there. But I don't see it. It's not as prominent. That's for sure. Maybe that was back. That's the older picture where that stack is, the black stack in the middle, the chimney. That was the older picture right there. So maybe there was a time where they were having a lot more deaths and they were having to cremate. Yeah, maybe so. But they, like I said, any place that has a cemetery on site, it's like a hospital. That's makes you wonder. But nonetheless, I do believe this happened. According to the remote viewing data, I do believe there was I would consider to be probably a dogman out there. And I would say that Mark Shackleman came face to face with a dogman. That was a bully. Hide your chains. Debo's coming.
I can't help but laugh every time you say that name. I think of King of the Hill, with the oh my God, I forgot his name. Mark Shackleford,
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This was interesting. See, and I go through like pretty much all the data, even the weird stuff, just so you guys can get an idea of how coordinate remote viewing works. Okay. Everything that I write down does not mean it all pertains to this target. I mean, it kind of does, but it's just me trying to figure out what I'm sensing. And sometimes it's funny. Yeah. And yes, I do channel Gucci Mane in Atlanta rappers occasionally. Okay. And rapper smaller.
Dogman with G-Dog.
Oh my gosh.
That one picture of the nothing but the graves that you shown, dude, when you popped that up earlier, that instantly gave me the heebie-jeebies. There's something
this
about
one?
Not that. No.
This one?
Yeah. That kid, man,
instantly when you pop that up, I get an uneasy vibe from that right there. I don't know what it is about that place. If anybody's close to there, I want you, if you can, check it out because I don't know what it is, but every time that thing gives me the heebie-jeebies. There's something there.
Well, there's a mound there. That's the same. This is the same cemetery from an older picture here. And that looks like a very small mound, but it's still a mound. But still, this is the same cemetery as this. And this is the map of that cemetery, actually, right here. It's called Mound Cemetery. And it's right off 12th Street, apparently. But anyways, Wisconsin has a lot of mounds. Okay, a lot of mounds. There's actually websites completely dedicated to all the mounds in Wisconsin. I don't know what state everybody lives in here, but go check it out. Do a search, like a Google search or DuckDuckGo search on mounds in your state. And I encourage everybody to go visit the mounds. I think it's interesting just to go get a feel for the energy out there. And just like me and the Etowah Indian mounds, pay attention to how you feel and the kind of downloads you get when you go there. I mean, I was actually, I'm a big supporter of Vic Hunduff and Dogman Encounters. I love his channel and his, all his live podcasts, his live shows and stuff. And Vic's a friend of mine. And I have heard plenty of encounters near the Dogman, the Dogmans, the mounds, okay, the burial mounds and the earthen mounds out there. But I was listening to one talking about the Cahokia mounds. I don't know if that was on Vic's show actually, but I was listening to Dogman Encounters at the Cahokia mounds. Okay, I think that's in Illinois, where our friends Jane and Daryl live up in Illinois. So they're pretty much at all the burial mounds, I would think. Like the snake mound is different than Cahokia mounds, right? I think there's like
I believe so. There's different types. There's different kinds all over the continents. I mean, it's not just in South America. People think South America only think there's these types of mounds are all over the world. And it's like they're projecting an image to the gods to say, hey, look, we're here. We recognize you. It's kind of like a setup like that. So, because you can only see him from the deal. I mean, like, I had Jesus Payon Jr. on my show one day, and we were talking about Kukulkan, and now showing them remains of Kukulkan. It's actually here in the United States. And, we came up with that theory of, Kukulkan and Quetzalcoatl are the same entity. It was just known as a different name by, whichever race was there at the time. You can find this stuff all over the world. And it's not just the U.S.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting. Sovereign Cosmic Wildman says there's an Aztec-related site in Wisconsin.
So that's interesting, Sovereign. I'm glad you brought that up. So if you study the history of the Aztec, they come from the ancient homeland called Azteca. If you actually study in Wisconsin, there's an area up there, and you can follow the Corn Belt right to it that is very close to what they described as their ancient land of Azteca. So I think a lot of them actually came from Wisconsin, went to South America, and then ended up going back because when they were getting, taken out and unalived, they went back to their homeland, which was called Azteca. So that's actually an extremely good point you brought up there.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Night Gazer I guess Night Gazer's talking about the Hoover Dam, I think. Where it says, under the statue's feet, the Plaza's terrazzo, is that how you say that? Floor is actually a celestial map that marks the time of the dam's creation based on the 25,772-year-old axial precession of the Earth. Interesting. Sounds very ritualistic, kind of like the Georgia Guidestones or something. I don't know, but totally different. Well, I know that the Georgia Guidestones came crumbling down. I don't know.
They were purposely came crumbling down for a good reason.
100%. Yeah. And God forbid the Hoover Dam breaks or something, like those folded dollar bills look like it might happen, but
yeah, and in some aspects, because a lot of people's going to be unalived from it. The land's going to be taken away until the flood waters recede.
but in the same time, it's actually a good thing if it does too. So it's one of those. It's a double-edged sword. I mean, you lean either way, you're going to get cut.
Yes, it's I hate to say it, but like all these dams and everything, like what was that movie that I used to love to watch? Oh brother, where art thou? Do you remember that? I think that's another movie where they were like showing where they were damming things up and flooding all the communities out, just like at Lake Lanier, that cursed lake that's in Atlanta, north of Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's just like that, like where they
I need to
flooded
do a
out the
paranormal dive.
Yeah.
I need to do a paranormal dive there at Lake Lanier, but I'm also worried about not coming back from it.
Oh yeah. I will never go swimming in that lake ever again. Ever. It is the consistency of Jello, they say, which is not appetizing to me. Okay. And I've located at least 1 or 2 bodies in there, remote viewing missing persons. Okay. So and they were found in the lake, by the way. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Well, know, that's a sad thing is we flirt with death a lot. It's like, how much do we want to flirt with it? You know, there comes a point where you gotta go, hey, gotta kind of, that's a little too deep.
It's a little too deep. Oh my God. Colleen says dams are actually affecting the Earth's rotation or tilt. I read somewhere. Yeah. I've had some conversations with some people that were, I mean, it's almost like the dams were made to stop the currency and the flow of Mother Nature, of Earth, of Gaia, and at some point the dams will break, they say. So I don't know, to get Earth back in its natural flow, and whether that's man-made or nature-made, I don't know. And so, yeah. I don't know. I don't want to be all doom and gloom. Actually, that's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. It's like, I don't know. But yeah, if you guys are interested, I know our key wanted to do a target next week, but maybe we could cover the Hoover Dam data since we talked about it tonight. We'll see. Okay. But
I'm so interested in that.
Yeah, me too. Well, Eric, thank you so much for being here tonight. I've really enjoyed this. Tell everybody where they can find you. Any kind of promotion you'd like to do tonight. You've got a wonderful YouTube channel, novel channel, and books.
Thank you. I'm going to post this again. I've been posting it periodically. I actually have my new webpage now at the bizarreandunknown.org. I've got, not only can you find my investigations on my YouTube, you can find them there. Every time I release a book, it's going to be on there. I've hurt myself. So I've been kind of down and hurt for the last couple of weeks. I hurt my knee, and I've had a lot of swelling from my buttocks to my upper calf. So I've not been in this chair a whole lot to mess with a lot of stuff. So I'm feeling a little bit better today. I can actually, I'm not wearing my knee brace, but I did have to pop a pill a little bit ago because I was hurting too bad. That's why I was fidgeting around so much. But yeah, you can. Yeah, I have links in the bottom of that on my webpage where you can go to my social medias. Follow me on Amazon on my author's page anytime I release a new book, which so far my top seller is my recent release, which is called Beast of the Ozarks First Kill, which takes place in modern times in southwest Missouri in a place called Pineville. And I took a whole new twist on this book. This book was difficult to write, folks. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was difficult because I actually, not only are you reading from the mindset of the main character, but you're also reading from the mindset of the creature that's hunting them. So in trying to put myself in the mindset of this creature, which, this is a modern day cryptid horror, that was hard. So because I literally had to go, how would these things look at us? How would these things think about this or this or this? But yeah, you can find my books on Amazon under e.d.testerman, just like it is on my little nameplate. You can find me on YouTube at the Bizarre and the Unknown. If you've been on a lot of tumor, brother, it helps speak. I need to, Carl. I need to. I've not. I've been self-healing as much as possible, but I'm doing better. So thank you, Carl. I love Carl. He's a great dude. I'm always giving crap. So anytime you see Carl Perlin in your chat, you know,
Yeah.
tell him you need your package. He's a package delivered guy.
A package.
Promoted. He was inaugurated as the package guy.
That's awesome. What's up, Carl?
Yeah. But so yeah, you can find me there. You can find me on YouTube at the Bizarre and the Unknown, TikTok, Instagram. I forgot. Yeah, I'm on a couple different things. I'm going to try to get some writing done. I'm working on my zombie book called "The Reign of the I can't even speak, my mouth's dry. Reign of the Draugr, Dawn of Armageddon, which while I was in my tractor mowing today for my job. I actually came up with a new ending for that, so I'm redoing all of this book right now to fit it up for this new beginning, this new ending, because I wanted to take this to a different level. So have a lot of fun. I write historical fiction cryptid horrors, sci-fi, and modern day cryptid horrors. And I've got several books I'm working on. You can see right here, every one of those notepads, which it goes deeper in what you can see, is actual book that I'm working on or I've published. And then I've got some more for my next new ideas. So I've got a lot of reviews on another book I'm working on. It's called Lucian, Angels and Demons, which is the first book in this series, which is it takes a different twist on the angels that fought in heaven. And Lucian, while he was in that battle, was grabbed by one of the fallen angels and drugged down to earth, and he's now on earth fighting demons for Yahuwah's sake. So it's I'm getting a lot of good reviews on that book. My Patreon, that's the one I was forgetting. Patreon, I have 2 tiers. I have A-Seer tier, which is you get a look at my books once they're published. If you want to be an Ihan Yar reader, you get the first look at my books as I'm writing them, giving me feedback on the books, what you think, and how the storyline and everything's going. That's the one I was forgetting. Other than that, you can find me on William Nighthawk show too. I co-host with William Nighthawk. Your wonderful mods, which you got some great mods in here. So, shout out to all of the mods in the chat. You guys are awesome. You've been posting William's show in here quite a bit along with mine, so I appreciate that.
Of course. Well, we love having.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you, Cryptid. Thank you to everybody, all the mods. The mods have been posting your links the whole show. So thank you guys so much for all your help. I appreciate it. Steve Wolf, I got your PayPal the other day. So thank you, Steve Wolf. You are the sweetest, man. I appreciate you so much for all your support. It means the world to me. Okay, so everybody go to, is it the Bizarre and the Unknown on Patreon, or is it Eric E.D. Tesherman? Bizarre?
No, it should be the Bizarre and the Unknown on Patreon. I've that one should have been started. My other stuff was set up differently. I'm trying to get it converted over, and I think I've got it converted over successfully. So it should be, as long as you look up the Bizarre and the Unknown, you should be able. You see that symbol? My chair. See that symbol? You found me. That's my logo. So you find that's me.
Yes, the Bizarre and the Unknown. Y'all go check it out, and definitely go subscribe over there on Rumble, YouTube, and Rumble. Okay, I'm on Rumble too, by the way. I always forget to tell you, I'm a little behind on posting my shows there. I don't air live over there.
Yeah, I got to get back to doing that too.
Oh yeah, I love Rumble though. Yeah. I need to maybe start doing. I mean, we can do like controversial stuff over on Rumble.
I do that so if I'm talking anything political, I do that on Rumble, just because I'm not censored on there as much as I am on YouTube. So when we talk about the things that's happening behind the lines that people don't know about, I talk about that on Rumble because of that, which I haven't done a show in a long time on there. I've just been busy. I need to do one, but there's things that's happening that people don't know about. Instead of talking on here on YouTube, I talk about that on Rumble.
Oh yeah. Well, you keep your ear to the street, and when it comes to all the current events going on in our world, and man, we got some wild and crazy things happening in the world. And we're just over here talking about dogmen and mental hospitals and stuff, and the women's asylum and things, and founded buildings. And isn't this wild how it seems like we all so connected? It's so wild. So many of these topics that we touch on, they're just connected somehow. I mean, hospitals and dogmen and mounds. I don't know. Crazy topics tonight, but thank you so much for being here with me, Eric, to dissect some of these dogman encounters. And yeah, shout out to everybody up in Wisconsin. You guys, please be safe out there. Okay, I know y'all still got plenty of dogman encounters going on up that way. We've got dogman encounters all over the country. I mean, Eric, we went over that werewolf report that you had, right? Not too long ago.
Well, yeah, and then, you know, we've talked about it a couple times. I think what happened in the late 90s down here by my house with all that livestock and domestic animal mutilations that was going on, that we at that time associated with cougar. The more I think about it, the more to me it leads to possible dogmen, because the river, I live along the Niagara River, which is known for Bigfoot and dogmen. And you can see videos on my YouTube of all the Bigfoot stuff I catch all year round out here. William Nighthawk and I did a show on my YouTube side when I caught all them vocals. And I remember sending them to you, and you're like, oh my God. You know, because, you know, like the female was going Shante. And Shante is Lakota for like calm yourself, you know, and it's in the Lakota lullaby. Shante washte hochte da dagi ashtima ha ha hepe hey washte oh yeah. Oh yeah, I mean the first word Shante. So, I mean, it's, I love doing that stuff. I just did a paranormal investigation for a neighbor, 80-year-old neighbor of mine. He's never had paranormal experiences ever in his life, and now he's got it. So now that I'm healing up, I've got to get my butt in gear and go through all that evidence, and I'll end up having to do another one over there. So I do that stuff. I do paranormal investigation, supernatural, and cryptid. So if you're in my area, I can only do my area right now because of funds and vehicles. So I do that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I can't say I'm doing any kind of investigations of any kind of hospitals or anything ever. I will go hunt a dogman in a second. You call me, you got a dogman on your property, I'll be there. Okay. But you want me to go run an EVP over at a psychiatric ward? No, thank you. I'm good. Any kind of hospital out in the middle of the Appalachian Mountains? No. What was that? The South Pittsburgh Hospital or something? We rode past that on the way up to the East Tennessee Squatch Out last year. My son and I was like, oh, this is that famous hospital that was on Ghost Adventures. And I was like, we're not going there. I was like, lock your doors, kid. Yeah.
Yo, we found what the mother dragons is scared of, so we gotta get the mother and dragons go paranormal.
The mother of dragons. Are you referring to me? You've been calling me the mother of dragons. That is so funny.
I have to.
I'll take it.
I just love that.
I'll take it. The mother of the Alabama dragon. Okay, I'll take that one. Oh my gosh, that's too funny. I want to give a shout out to all my buddies that are going up to the Land Between the Lakes this weekend. I wish I could go. Manimal Research is doing it's usually the East Tennessee Squatch Out, but it's the LBL Squatch Out this weekend. So y'all have fun. I think I heard from Joe Parker today, him and Pat. A bunch of people are going to be up there. So y'all please be safe up at the LBL this weekend, and think about me, and pour a little liquor out for your homie up there. Okay.
I gotta get up to LBL. One of these days I'll be rich and famous. I'm gonna make a trip up to LBL. I just got a calling and a pull to go to that place, something fearsome. One of the books that I'm writing in is LBL is going to be mentioned in it.
Oh yeah. I'd like to make a trip up there too. I may have a couple things planned, but we'll see how that goes. It's a destination. It's one of those, what do you call it? I don't know. It's on the bucket list.
Yeah, bucket list. Yeah.
It's on the bucket list. All right. Well, everybody, I hope you guys all enjoyed the show tonight, and I hope y'all learned a little something. I always learn something. And man, more than anything, I just have fun. Man, every one of these shows is so much fun. Yeah. So thank you guys, everybody who's here tonight, and all my mods, and I want to thank LB for the super sticker tonight, and everybody who has joined us, and please, y'all, please jump in the chat if you're watching. We really do have a really great chat, and don't be shy. Okay, everybody's really nice, and so y'all, yeah, please have a safe night, like Colleen says. Thank you, Colleen. Don't live in fear of anything. Have no fear, y'all. If me and Eric are out there chasing monsters in the woods and stuff, we still got smiles on our faces. We're having a good time. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're chasing monsters, so y'all don't have to. We'll keep you safe, right? But y'all have a great night. Come back and see me on Saturday. I'll be back on the hunt, and the guest that I was planning to have, something came up, so he's not going to be here. We'll bring him on. We were going to talk about Atlanta Dogman, actually downtown Atlanta. We'll do that in the future, though. I promise. And I promise we will have a great show on Saturday. Eric, when's the next time you're going live?
So Saturdays, usually I go live Friday nights with William, sometimes Saturday and Sunday mornings. As long as he's feeling up to it, I usually go live with him on them. Then I got my shows, which Saturdays is the Campfire Chats with Eric and guests, and that's a place where you can come and share your encounters. You too, muchete. I got to do it that way, muchete. I got so it's a safe place for you to come. You want to come on live? I'll bring you on live. We'll talk about your encounters. If you just want to talk about it in chat, we'll talk about it in chat. But we talk about all that kind of stuff. And then I actually have my actual subject shows on Sunday. The bizarre and the unknown. Which this Sunday, if everything works out right and it's the way we got it planned, I've got a brother of mine that does paranormal investigations with a crew up in Kansas, and he's actually been to the Sally House. So him and his team is supposed to be live with me Sunday. So long as something doesn't get thrown in the gears, then that's what we're looking at doing Sunday is a paranormal talk with my good brother and his team.
Amazing. Okay, well, I'm gonna try to make some of your lives. Okay, and yeah, I try to make as many lives as I can. But now that we've gotten back into school with my kid and stuff on the weekends, I can probably do it unless I'm out hunting cryptids and stuff. But yeah, my schedule, man, I had to completely switch my schedule up when my son went back to school last week. So
I'll be doing another show. I'll be doing another show here before too long. I have got a couple more. I'm gonna be setting up once a month. One's called a book club show, and that's where we, people who read my books, we kind of talk about them during that show. Kind of where everything went on it and that. And then another one's going to be called a writer's workshop, where I want to get other authors on with me, and we kind of talk about our writing styles. And I haven't done a live in a while of me actually working on one of my books because I've had way too much stuff going on. So I'm going to be doing a live. I plan open this weekend where you'll see me working on one of my books, and we'll be kind of talking about it as I work.
Oh, very fun, and very creative. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. For sure. Well, y'all go and support Eric, author E.D. Testerman on Amazon. Y'all go purchase some books. And yeah, thank you so much again, Eric, for being here. Machete just reminded me that I forgot to say, y'all need to keep your head on a swivel. I have not been saying that lately, but y'all keep your head on a swivel. Okay. Be aware of your surroundings, but don't live in fear. And thanks again to everybody for being here. I'll see you guys back here on Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. Until then, stay safe. All right, Eric, go take care of your dogs. Go take care of all your fur babies and your youngins over there. And
I've got one on the desk right here.
Oh my gosh. Well, y'all have a great night, and I will see y'all on Saturday. All right, bye y'all. Bye Eric.